Todd, you want to join us right here? Yeah, I don't know about you, but I was reflecting on my life this week, and I was thinking, you know, I thought about this when I started practicing law. I had to go through 4 years of law school. I'm sorry, 4 years of college, 3 years of law school. And in law school, we had what they call mock trials, where we prepared a fake case. We stood before a fake judge and argued fake facts to try to get an idea of what it was really like out there in the real world. But in spite of 3 years of that, in spite of 3 years of learning and all the knowledge and all of those things that I took in, I was poorly prepared coming out of law school to be able to do this in the real world. And I thought, as we're talking about today, and as Will does the main talk today, we're going to do this again in 2 parts, as we did last week. We're going to talk about, I wanted to talk about how when I walked out of law school, if you had sent me into a regular courtroom with real facts, with a real life sitting there next to me, with a real person, I'd have been poorly prepared for that. In fact, I remember when I started practicing with another attorney who had probably, I guess, 10 years of experience. And the one thing that he taught me, he would send me out and he would show me how to do things. First time I ever did a title search, something that would take 3 hours. Simple thing, he sent me out. He drew on a diagram what it looked like in the clerk's office and how to do this. And he sent me out, and I'd come back and I'd bring it back to him. I'd say, this is what I've got. And then he had already done this. He had already done this title search before. So he compared his notes to mine and then sent me back again. And over again, I learned by walking in the footsteps of somebody who had walked before me. And I thought, you know what? Our Christian life is the same way. Today we're going to be talking about big brothers, little brothers. Because we're poorly prepared to live in a real world if we just sit in church for years and years and listen to all of it. How do we take what we've learned and apply it to our lives? So, personally, I'm excited about this. I'm excited because Will's getting a chance to talk on Saturday morning. For many of you guys who don't come on Monday night, you don't get a chance to hear Will, and he does every Monday night. And so for me, it's a great opportunity to have him talk to you guys. So, here we go.
I gotta put this thing on?
Yeah, you gotta put the thing on.
Wow, this is embarrassing to figure this out. You go see how incompetent I am right off the bat. How about if I just hold it?
No.
He usually does this on Monday nights. Yeah. Thank you. Well, now that my confidence is really up, let's go and get started. For those of you who were here on Monday night, we're pretty much going to talk really similarly about what we talked about on Monday night. So it's your lucky day. You get to hear it again. But
stand back over here so these guys can hear you.
Are you going to let me talk today? But I think for a lot of the guys that were here on Monday night, I think God's, for the ones that I've talked to, God's given you an amazing week. So I think you'll have a whole new arena of things to talk about. But I was reading an article this past week that really made me think about, it was a good analogy for the topic about what we're going to be talking about today. And it was about this guy in 1970. He went up to Fishhook National Forest in Utah. And he went up to study this aspen tree. There was a grove of aspen trees up there, and he went up to study them. And so he started looking at the leaves, you know, he looked at the bark. He was kind of top, working his way down to the bottom. But when he got down to the bottom, he found something really interesting. And what he found was that this aspen tree, the roots of this tree were actually connected to the tree that was next to it. And as he dug a little bit further around the tree, he realized that the roots of this tree were actually connected to all the trees that were around it. And the way that this worked out was, basically, this tree had roots that were connected to a tree that was a little bit older than it was, that had roots that were bigger and went down into the ground a little bit deeper. But at the same time, it also had roots that were connected to a tree that wasn't as old as it was, and it had smaller roots that didn't go down in the ground quite as far as its own roots did. And as he started to fan out, to circle out and to look at the trees that were around it, what he found was this extended for 47,000 trees, right? And as they went back and they studied this thing, since then they've named this the largest living single organism in the world, in this little Fishhook National Forest in Utah, this group of 47,000 aspen trees that are all connected at the roots. And I thought that was a perfect analogy of what it is that we're going to be talking about today. So, and what we're talking about today, we've all heard about it a lot. It's big brother, little brother, right? It's a specific approach, a way of doing community. And we've talked about this. You guys have heard it over the last couple of years. So what is it? What is big brother, little brother? And if you were asked me to define it, what I would say is one hand forward, one hand back, everybody running towards God. Okay? Does it matter? Is this significant? I mean, first of all, let's come out of the gates with so what? Big deal. Why does this matter? Is this important? And what I would say is, about 2 years ago when we started this group, Big Brother, Little Brother was the filter, it was the backdrop through which we decided to start this group. And I'll tell you guys, God has changed a whole lot of things over the last couple of years. There's been a lot of changes, things have evolved, but that has not changed. And I want you guys to really listen to what I'm about to say, because it's critical, because this community means so much to me, and I know what it means so much to a lot of you guys. Now, this is just my own personal opinion, but if what I'm saying is true, it's extremely important. And that is, if this group is going to continue, if we're going to continue to grow, if we're going to be here a few years down the road and we're still going to be glorifying God, many of us in this room, if not all of us in this room, are going to have to engage, right? That's what the name of this group, engage. We are all going to have to engage with Big Brother, Little Brother, if this group is going to continue to grow, and we're going to continue to be here in a few years and still be honoring God as a group of men. I really believe that. So the stakes couldn't be any higher. What we're talking about today is exceptionally important. So what we've got, like we talked about, one hand forward, one hand back, everybody running towards God. So what we've got is your right hand, okay? This is the hand that you reach forward. This goes out to your big brothers. Your left hand, this is the hand that goes back. This is to your little brothers. And all that is your big brother is just somebody who's a little bit further along in their journey with God. Your left hand goes back to somebody who maybe is a little bit back behind you. They're not quite as far along on their journey with God as what you are. But what I want you guys to do is, right now I want you to take your hands and just hold them up. Okay? I want you to take a look at your right hand. Whose names do you see written on there? Who are your big brothers? Do you have names written on there? And who are those guys? Also now I want you to take a look at your left hand. Those are your little brothers. Whose names do you see written on your hands there? Okay? Now you can all put your hands down. Well, the waitresses come back to think we're back here doing meditation or something. It's a Tai Chi group we got going on back here. But basically what I'm going to do for the next few minutes is I just want to tell you what I've learned from my right hand and my left hand, from my big brothers and from my little brothers over the last few years as I've been on this journey. First of all, my right hand, right? So this is the hand that goes forward. This is the hand that reaches out to my big brothers. I'm very fortunate in that I have a few names on this list, but I'm going to talk today about my relationship with the first one, and he's my primary one, and he's going to continue to be my primary one, and that's Woody. How do you pick a big brother? How do you know, how's this all start? How's this work?